Well, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ken Franczek to LiveTalks. He's the GM of Crystal Glass, a partner at Nordic Films, owner of the firm Sports Management, and also a motivational speaker for Excel.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a big list of resume.
Thank you. Great. Doesn't seem like a lot. I get it all done. Yeah.
What's your favorite?
What's my favorite? What's my favorite? Well, because we've got a big fight coming up tonight, actually, as we're filming this, one of our fighters is on that event. So I guess today, my favorite is the firm Sports Management.
So Shane Campbell fighting in the UFC tonight, making his debut, managed by the firm Sports.
Yeah, very excited.
So what's your favorite part about being in the fight business?
Favorite part? I don't think I have a favorite part. I just love everything about it. I got involved with it probably 12 or 14 years ago. My son wanted to box. We spent a whole lot of time down at a local boxing club. And I sat and watched for the first couple of weeks until someone there said, if you're going to be here, you're going to do something. And he kind of said it just like that. And I said, okay, well, let's do it. And so I began working with the kids. I think that's probably was my most favorite part. But unfortunately, like anything with me, it turned into a business. And typically, everything I really enjoy as a hobby, somehow I find a way to turn it into a business opportunity. And here we are, Firm Sports Management.
Yeah, and former MFC champ Sam Alvey, also managed by you guys. He's just coming off a big victory.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
I won't lie, I was pretty excited. Yeah, I was excited when he was. I think he was flown to Brazil to lose. Actually, I think if you know anything about the sport, but yeah, he turned everyone's heads when he knocked his opponent out cold. Actually, it was a lot of fun to watch.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's intense. So being so many different hats with all the things that you do, what puts hunger and drive into your system? What keeps you going when you wake up every morning?
Wow, that's kind of a cool question. I guess, and I don't want to go into it a lot, but if my background is what motivates me. I started really with nothing, about as close to really nothing as a human can start with, and I learned pretty quickly that with effort, I could start being able to manage my life better, have a better life for my family, and to earn respect amongst my peers. I think probably just knowing what it's like having nothing motivates me every day to ensure I never go back there. Yeah, so that's probably, it's not about fun, although it is a lot of fun. It's a personal thing. It's I just really don't want to lose. I only want to win now.
And I won't go into it too much, but what did give you hope back then?
What gave me hope?
Because they say without hope, you just stop trying.
You know what? I don't know if there's any one thing. What it is a whole series over a lifetime of little things that happen that begin to give you hope. Someone puts faith in you. Someone gives you a small opportunity. You know, they say, how do you eat an elephant? You do that one bite at a time. I think life is like that. Everything's just kind of one bite at a time. And when you look back, it's not any one thing. It's a whole series of things that have happened. You know, and the feelings of confidence or succeeding at something, and then that feeling of euphoria when you win in a small, just takes you on to the next one. Just kind of everything keeps you carrying on to the next one.
So having a big picture of what you want, but what are the smaller steps to get you there throughout the day and achieve that one day at a time?
Yeah, one of my philosophies is set your goals in concrete, but your plan will always be in sand. It will always change. Never lose sight of that concrete goal. So you're right, it's two things. It's knowing where you want to be, and it's all the little path that takes you to get there.
Right, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Crystal Glass, you being the GM, and under your leadership, how much the company has grown and within the last 5 years.
That's pretty exciting. You know, for everything in life, you need a catalyst. You need a place to ground yourself, and a place that allows you the opportunity to be successful, and then to utilize that success to leverage it to do other things. Crystal glass is that rock for me. I was given a great opportunity with the company, and listen, when I took leadership of the company, excuse me, they'd already been around for 60 years. So, yeah, who am I? But with that said, I think maybe like any business over time, it was starting to get a little bit old, and you know, people get complacent. And I came in with a new energy, really, was all it was. And we began the process of just the excitement of growing new businesses, opening new stores, finding new pieces of the market that we hadn't explored before. That's actually really exciting for me, is just watching a business grow. And yeah, we've had some wonderful success, so I'm really proud of that.
Well, I know you're pretty humble about it, but I know you've made some pretty big changes, like the Can-Am division, which was your structure. And tell us a little bit about what they do and how you came about it and what motivated the idea.
Can-Am Glass Products is a division of Crystal Glass. It's a manufacturing, architectural glass manufacturing division. And Crystal Glass had always been really known as an automotive company. And in fact, still sometimes we struggle with that. I was given an opportunity to manage a small little piece of our business that did some unique, what we call flat glass or architectural glass components. It was a small division, had a few people in it, but I saw huge potential. I worked really hard for a couple of years to prove myself to the ownership of the company at the time that I was really serious about taking the company to a different level. At a certain point, I approached our founder, Ed Bean, and said, hey, listen, I've got this idea. And thankfully, he's also an extreme entrepreneur, and gave me all of the rope I needed to either succeed or potentially hang myself. And thankfully, I did succeed. We opened a 60,000 square foot manufacturing facility with about $10 million worth of automated equipment, and really did it on a gamble, but a calculated gamble. And so that was opened 12 or 13 years ago now under my leadership. And it was a tough haul the first couple of years, like any new business. But I'm proud to say it now generates revenue of over $10 million a year and does really wonderful. We employ 60 local people and support all of Western Canada with architectural supplies. So it's really neat.
Yeah, and Ed Bean is I would say, a celebrity around Edmonton, not only for his philanthropy and his entrepreneurial skill, but at one time he owned part of the Oilers. Right. How big of an impact has he made in your entrepreneurial skills?
Yeah, he's been a huge, huge piece of the puzzle for me. I think that inherently I already had that entrepreneurial bug that was already in me. I think you either have that or you don't have that. Right. But then it comes down to mentorship and coaching and being given opportunity. Ed has done all of those things for me. As a mentor, I would class him as close to a father figure as anyone I've ever had in my life. Takes the time to sit and talk about what's worked for him, what hasn't, what motivates him. I ask the same questions, funny enough, that I'm asked oftentimes when I do these sorts of things. What motivates you? And well, those are questions I sat and asked Ed 10 and 12 and 15 years ago. He's been a monstrous influence in my life, in particular my business life, but also my personal.
So is it safe to say that he's your role model right now? And if so, that's great. Yeah. But who was your role model when you were younger?
He's definitely my role model now.
Yeah.
No question about it. When I was younger, in order to tell us to tell you the answer to that, it would take a long story, and I don't want to do that. But the Coles Notes is there was a fellow who was very influential as I was coming out of really hard times as a youngster in my early teens, coming out of pretty severe circumstances. And there was a fella, and his name, not that it would matter on here to you guys, but his name was Dan Erklins, and to be honest, just a real average guy. But he was a fella who gave me an opportunity to work, and then once he found out how bad my personal circumstances were, he physically took me in to a really small apartment that he had. He was about to get married. He and his future wife were living in a tiny little apartment in Toronto. And this guy said, you know, I found out your background and where you're staying right now, and you're not doing that anymore. You're going to move in with us until we can get you sorted out. And this guy really took me under his wing, and he was a real huge influence when I was younger.
Do you think that makes a huge impact for why you're so involved in the community now and being such a philanthropist yourself?
Absolutely. That's funny, as we're sitting here, I literally just got a chill because it caused me to think about it again, and it's happening as we sit here. one of the things that Ed Bean has taught me, probably more so than anyone else, is the importance of giving back. And you know, we spend all of our time and energy typically trying to make a better life for ourselves, for our family, and that's a noble. There's nothing wrong with that. It's really noble. But there comes a point where you have enough, and there's others who are looking for that opportunity, that hand up, or maybe it's just to sit down and say, hey, you know, this is what I did. Why don't you try this? You know, mentorship. And so I started realizing I was sort of at that cusp of between trying to build my own and time to start doing something for someone else, probably around 5 or 8, 10 years ago. And so I started dabbling in it and just trying to be there for others. Everything in my life is interactive. The boxing thing, when you think about it, these are kids that typically have rough home lives, are searching for mentorship, coaching, a good role model. And I think that was what the appeal was for me even then. And it seems everything I do now is sort of related, and it's not conscious, it's a subconscious thing, where I end up in situations where there's youth at risk and there's an opportunity and I'm compelled. It's like a DNA thing now. Mm-hmm. You know, you make a lot of conscious decisions all day, right. But there's certain things you can't control about yourself. It's become part of my personality, part of my DNA, where I really can't even help myself. When I see that someone needs a hand up, I gotta be there.
Just ingrained in you.
I can't even control it, yeah.
So with you being so many different hats that you have on throughout the day, how do you balance it all?
I get asked that a lot.
It's $1 million question, I guess, right?
I guess it is, but again, it's kind of funny. It's back to that DNA thing. I'm not even sure I can answer it because I am asked all the time and I don't have an answer. Somehow I get up in the morning, I schedule my day. It never goes the way I schedule it, ever. If I say I'm going to be here at 10 and here at 11 and here at 12, inevitably something falls out of place and the whole day ends up being completely different than what I planned. But somehow, by the time I put my head down on my pillow at the end of the day, it's done. And how it's done, I don't know. Maybe I just have too much energy. And, you know, I had a lot of energy as a kid, and I used a lot of it for some pretty negative things, which got me into a lot of trouble. I think as an adult, I've simply learned how to use that energy and kind of direct it towards things that make more sense. And somehow I just get through the day. I don't know how, to be honest with you. And I'm still looking for more, so it's not like we're full yet.
So with being where you are in the business world, right, and having accomplished a lot, and doing so many things at once, obviously stress comes with that. It's just a byproduct. How do you deal with stress? What gives you peace of mind at the end of the day?
Yeah. Stress really is only stress if you allow it to be stress. I don't take myself too seriously. I don't take the business interests. Don't get me wrong, they're extremely important and I understand the responsibility attached to it. I try to make good decisions. I'm always consciously aware of what consequences are to my decisions, but I don't allow stress to create an edge on me. It just doesn't stick to me. And to be honest with you, I think stress is only something that will affect you. Let me give it to you this way. Sorry, and you'll have to work this in your own way. But here's my best example of how stress can only bother you if you allow it to bother you. I don't sweat the small things ever. And I think that a lot of people spend their whole day worrying about, what's that guy going to think? What if I make this mistake? And it cripples them. And I think that probably holds a lot of people back. Right. If you allow stress to cripple you, which is what people do, and it affects all of your decision making, then you can't make decisions. If you can't make decisions, you can't move forward. So I guess I kind of just blind it all out. I don't think of it as stress. It actually motivates me. I like to be stressed. I like to wake up and know people are counting on me and I have things I have to do and I have decisions I have to make. Right. That excites me. It kind of plays back to what you asked me before, is what motivates me. I think almost in a weird way, stress almost motivates me because it gets my energy going. It's like, okay, we got to go do something.
Well, you really need to go through life with a sense of humor.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, and actually, you know, there was a comment I wanted to make to you before, and I kind of lost my train of thought, but it's come back to me, and it was this comment, and I've said it to a lot of people before. It's oftentimes I say to myself and to people around me, there's a reason I didn't become a neurosurgeon, a brain surgeon, because if you're a brain surgeon, every decision you make is a life and death, literally a life and death decision. Yeah. So when things become really overwhelming for me, I go back to that and say, okay, glass business, the combat sports business, the nightclub business, it doesn't matter, a digital billboard sign company.
Right.
Any decision I make is not going to be a life and death decision. There's nothing that can't be fixed.
Right.
Yeah. As long as you focus on fixing the problems once you have them. I guess that's kind of how I look at things.
It's true though, right? It's not life or death. Relax. It's going to get done at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It might not be what we envisioned, but it's going to work out.
Absolutely.
Right?
And then you have to apply to that a lot of common sense and hard work. I mean, you can't kind of la-ti-da through life saying, oh, nothing matters, but because it does. And you need to understand that, again, that's sort of the responsibility side and the common sense side and the maturity side that says, I don't allow the stress to kill me, and I'm not a neurosurgeon, nobody's going to die. However, you know, this will affect people, and I have to be cognizant of that. I have to make good decisions. But if I make a bad one, we'll fix it.
Right.
So, yeah, I really don't have much of the what I would call sharp edges of stress in my life. I just don't.
That's good.
Yeah.
What advice would you give somebody that's, because you come from pretty much nothing to being a very successful entrepreneur, somebody that's struggling right now, what kind of advice would you give them?
That one's pretty easy because at the end of the day, there's just a couple of things that will make you successful. One is work harder than everyone else. You know, it's so cliche and you hear it all the time. Well, you know, if you're going to be successful, you have to work harder than everybody else. Well, it's the truth. There's really, it's such a simple thing. And I do live a lot of my life based on that, my business life. When I see somebody who's rising, don't ever be afraid of that. Use it to motivate you. Because if you see somebody rising and working harder than you, it's just like a race. Okay, well, I better pick it up. I got to do more. I've got to do more. So I believe that hard work is number one. The second one is common sense. Those two things alone will make any person successful. So the common sense side is slow down sometimes, really think things through, and make decisions, always being aware that there's a next step. Once you've made that decision, it's going to affect, which is cause and effect and cause and effect. Try to think a bit like a chess game. What's going to happen next? If you apply those two things, common sense and then hard work is at its core and foundation, I think those are the two things that will make a person successful. And lastly, every bit as important, but it's such a sideline item that people forget, is be honest. Be honest with other people and be honest with yourself. Know your limitations. When you find what your limitations are, bring in people to make you stronger. And nothing replaces integrity. Your life is long. The people that you will come across over your lifetime, you're either going to touch them and then negatively leave them behind, or you're going to bring them as a team, and as your team and your life grows, that grows. And you end up, I can proudly say my network of business people and friends and acquaintances is huge.
And they say that's how you should measure your success, not on your wealth, but on the relationships you've built.
It's so true. You've heard this, everybody's heard this, but I really believe it. You're really not judged in life on your success until your funeral.
Yeah.
That's how many people show up.
Interesting. I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah. How many people show up at your funeral, I think, is really a true indicator of whether or not you were successful in your life. Money comes and goes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you've accomplished, a handful of things in your life, and you've gone from zero to the top. What's next for you? Yeah. And what keeps you motivated to keep going and to keep going further?
Well, I have one I wish I could tell you guys about because it's a business opportunity that I'm looking at, but it's extremely high profile and it's still being worked on, and it's very private, but I will say that if it does come together, I will be in the cable, television, and internet providing business with a couple of partners in a huge way. And you asked sort of what my next ambitions are. Well, it's just goal setting now. It's not about I want to have this, so I'm going to do this. It's just goal setting. So my poor wife, I have to tell this story. My poor wife, Brenda, we both come from very, very humble beginnings, but she doesn't have that entrepreneurial bug that I have and isn't interested in it. She would have been just as happy when we got to the point where we had a small little house and a couple of children. If we'd have stayed there forever, she would have been thrilled.
A simple life.
Absolutely, and God bless her for that because she keeps me grounded. But that's not me. And it's not me because I want to have bigger, better. It's because I hit that goal. Okay, so I hit that goal, now what? So I have to set another goal. Right. And once we got kind of past what her goals were, and I would set the bar higher, she'll tell you now, she'd say, I don't get it. Sorry, Ken, I don't believe, I know you'll do it, but I can't picture it. I don't think it's going to happen. Well, we've hit about 3 steps past that now. And so now, and it's a funny story because just a couple of weeks ago, I had one of my future potential new partners in my home, and we were just talking. I was pretty excited about this new business I was just referring to. And the numbers are, even for me, astronomical. They're really big numbers. And there's a real chance that these goals are attainable. And my wife was sitting, and honestly, deer in the headlights. And my partner said, you know he's serious, right? And my wife said, oh no, I know he's serious. I just can't get my head wrapped around it. But she says, I also know if he says he's going to do it, he's probably going to do it.
Goes back to integrity?
Well, integrity, accountability, tell people that you're going to do it, makes you, kind of forces you to have to do it. Right. But to the what are my next steps, it's really not a what I want, it's just the next goals.
It's just competing with yourself.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, sorry, back to success, I was thinking, do you believe a person needs to go to post-secondary to achieve success? What would you say to someone who's younger, looking up to you and saying, I really love what you do and I respect it?
Okay.
Do you think I need to be going to school for this?
Yeah, see, this one, it puts me into an odd conundrum that I have to answer honestly, but understanding consequence of how I answer this to other people. Mm-hmm. I'm of 2 minds. My youth was not spent in high school. I ended up going down another path for my own reasons, and it was a tough way to go. As a result, it taught me a lot about life, and it taught me a lot about how to become successful, like principles of success and what it would take to do it. So there's something to be said for that. I know, and I'm not the only one, I know other folks in my business network who are very successful who did not come up mainstream, through the mainstream education system. So can it be done? Yes. Should it be done that way? It's hard for me to preach that it's a great idea because I didn't come through that way. So it's really difficult for me to say that. But the common sense side of me says, right, of course it is. I'm not sure that education, the process gives you the arithmetic or the English lit skills that you're going to need when you get out of school, but what it does do is it teaches you how to learn. It teaches you how to communicate, how to absorb information. And the further you go through education into university or college, those next levels, now it does indeed become more specific to what you're going to anticipate you're going to do, but more importantly, even more of this ability to learn and draw in information. So I think it's very valuable, but I find myself hypocritical if I say it's the only way, because right, I actually had to go back and do night school just to get an equivalency so that I could do a little bit of college night courses, and that's all I have.
I mean, and there's so many pros to going to school and post-secondary, but the cons are in this country is the amount of debt that students have to pay after school is done is just astronomical.
Yeah, to be honest, I never really had to worry about, for obvious reasons with myself, what kind of debt I would accrue, because I never did go through that path. And with my kids did do their high school, but then they came on to work with me in different aspects of my businesses. But I look at what the education is costing just from the media. I've been, especially now with what's going on, elections and the governments, and everybody's kind of going on about not secondary, but post-secondary costs of education. And I saw some numbers that said like $10,000 and $15,000 a year. Well, with all due respect, $10,000 to $15,000 a year for a lifetime education, to me sounds like a steal. So I'm not. What you're saying. Yeah, I'm not sure that carrying 4 years of debt at $60,000 for a guy who's going to become, hypothetically a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer. Listen, $60 grand. Have you seen what a doctor bills? Yeah, but
It all depends, though. I mean, like if you own your own practice and things like that, but some, like say a nurse, you know, after paying taxes, a nurse will only take about $50,000 home. So the equivalent is a lot of paying. And nations like Germany and things like that, they get free post-secondary. So there is some negatives to it, but I definitely see what you're saying as well.
And I can't argue, you know, I can't even debate that because I truly, again, I'm not educated well enough on it. I've never really found myself in that situation. It was just sort of my observation, but you're right in hindsight. If you're talking about a $60,000 or $50,000 education to get a $50,000 a year job, the math kind of doesn't work.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And there's no guarantee you're going to get that job afterwards.
Right.
Look at Ontario. There's nurses in Ontario that have to go to the States, or there's teachers in Ontario where there's a long list to go through before they ever get a job. So a lot of these people have a teaching degree, but they're stuck, you know, being a waitress or being a bartender at a bar. So there is a level of things that need to be fixed with the education, I think, in our country.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with you.
Let's go back, because I'm actually lucky enough to know you somewhat on a personal level. And there was a statement you made one time that really touched me, is when you look in your fridge. I'll just leave it at that and we'll let you explain the rest.
Oh, wow. Okay, Dave. Yeah, you know what? You're not the one who's lucky. I'm the one who's lucky first. You know what? I'm pretty blessed to have you guys and you and your family in my life as well. So, yeah, we're definitely friends. Which allows you to have information like this that can be used when we're taping something, filming something.
Damn you, Dave.
Yeah, okay, I'll give it to you. Again, I come from humble beginnings, and there are times in my life where I really had nothing. And by nothing, I mean nothing. And food, for a lot of years, was one of those things that people take for granted and I didn't have access to. And so now, one of the ways I measure success is food in the pantry. And my wife will often catch me, and I still do it. First of all, we always have way more food than we need in our house. I know that's probably not a good thing, maybe a little bit wasteful sometimes, but it is what it is. It's the reality. It's a safety blanket for me. Our pantry is always completely full, and if it's not, I ask my wife to please go fill it again. And I can be caught every once in a while with the pantry door open, standing in front of the pantry, looking at the food, and I can stand there for probably 3 to 5, 10 minutes sometimes and just look at it.
Just admiring?
Just know that it's full. I know it's there, and I won't be hungry.
Nice. I want to go to Ken's house.
Yeah. Come on over. We have lots of food.
Barbecue.
Yeah, exactly.
We have lots of food. Come on over.
That's what I was thinking about. Can we ask you some fashion questions? Would that be okay?
You're welcome to ask them. I'm not sure what I can do to answer them, but I'll do my best.
Answer them, Ken. They're not too crazy.
I'll try.
I was gonna think, you wear suits sometimes. Where do you go to get your suits? And go-to place in Edmonton? Taylor?
Sure, Value Village, yeah. No, I don't. I'm teasing.
I'm trying to think of the last time I seen a suit there.
Yeah.
If it looks that good, I might go get one.
Right? $3.98.
They do have some good finds if you can stay there long enough. You can find the odd shirt.
I think you have to live there,
but
actually.
a lot of people don't ever want to do that. Yeah.
You know what? Obviously, I care what people think of me. And in fact, I'm going to revert back to something that's success oriented and relates to fashion in a second. But for me, I guess I'm not all that stylish. I'm getting a little bit older. I mean, I care what people think, and I want to look professional. But I don't sort of have a favorite name brand or a favorite store. I'm the guy who does the Moors and that kind of thing. But what I do like is in my own time, my personal time where I'm not in business attire, is I really like sort of the Robert Graham look. So I've got a closet full of those types. And I found a company in Edmonton, now for the life of me, I've gone blank what they're called, Eddie's Menswear. And I went into Eddie's Menswear one time talking to the fellow who owns it, Mr. Clapstein, and I said, I'm looking for Robert Graham shirts. And he says, well, Ken, I kind of have an issue with Robert Graham for my own reasons. I don't really like to supply their product here. He said, but I have a designer in Montreal. And if you'd like, he says, you pick all the fabrics, you pick the buttons, the cuts, the this, the that. So I ordered, first of all, I didn't ask him how much. So I said, sure, let's do this. So we sit down and we're like an hour into this thing. And he's like, pick this buttons and pick these, pick that. thinking, well, how much is this thing going to cost? But now I'm so far into it, I can't ask.
You're addicted?
Well, I'm thinking it would almost be embarrassing.
Yeah.
Gee, maybe I should have asked you how much this is going to cost. We've spent an hour on this. So anyways, we get through all of this, and it's done. He says, okay, I'm going to send this to Montreal. They'll come back in about 4 weeks. And I left. I didn't have the nerve to ask him how much is it going to cost. So I came back for these 3 shirts. The bill was like $2,500 for 3 shirts. My wife was going to kill me. It's like, if you ever do that again. But honestly, they're like my 3 prize possessions. Yeah. I love wearing
That
them.
was going to be my next question. What is your prized possession in your closet? But that's it.
Yeah,
shirts.
It's those shirts. You know, they're really beautiful shirts.
They say, well, obviously when you're at work, you're in a suit to look professional. But on your time by yourself, you like jeans and those dress shirts. What is it about Robert Graham that represents your style?
Well, I'll say again, I'm not much of a fashionista. So being not much of a fashionista, I just like that word. I don't know, it's a bit of a status symbol, I think. I'm a fairly humble guy, but I'm also proud. And I don't know, there's something about them. There's like that turned up cuff with a different fabric. I don't know, it just looks cool.
I can answer it for you. Because they're fun and loud, and you're fun and loud, right?
You know what?
Not loud in a bad way at all.
No, I've never thought of it, but you're bang on for sure. It's because I have a pretty low-key personality, right?
But when you get to know you,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
You're interesting, you're colorful. That's how the shirts are.
Okay.
Just when you think you're one pattern, the cuff's the other side.
I better start wearing gray.
You gotta double, no!
Oh, sorry.
Over here, got black and gray.
Yeah, Mr. Conservative, that's right.
That's right, just keeping it low key over here. Okay, so let's do Brianna's favorite part.
Yes, please, let's.
It's called the rapid fire get to know Mr. Ken Franczek.
Oh, I'm afraid.
No, don't be afraid. So it's yes or no questions, or it will be something like cat or dog.
Okay, can I do it in advance? Yes, yes, no, dog, cat, no, yes.
No, fail.
All right.
We gotta do it again for the real.
All right.
Okay, so tea or coffee?
Coffee.
TV or a book?
TV.
Laugh or love?
Both. I'm not allowed to do that.
No, that's fine, that's fine. Wine or beer?
Depends on the day.
Favorite restaurant?
Character's Restaurant.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite car?
Ooh, Lamborghini.
Nice. Book or magazine?
Book.
Favorite vacation spot?
Bahamas.
Ooh, that's a good one. Facial hair or no facial hair?
Well, I'd say facial hair, but I can't grow any, so no.
Hair gel or no hair gel?
Yeah, just look at this mess. Yeah, hair gel.
Okay, whatever. Sleeping in or waking up early?
Waking up early.
Nice. Running or walking?
Running.
Spray tans or no spray tans?
Yeah, okay, I've done it before.
Gold or silver?
Silver.
Morning or night?
Night.
Favorite knot for your tie?
Favorite?
Knot for your tie.
The one that works, I don't know. The only one I know, is it a Windsor?
Yeah. Sounds good, yeah.
Yeah.
Bow tie or tie?
Tie.
Excellent. Suit or casual wear?
Casual wear.
Socks and sandals?
No.
What do you think about teeth whitening?
What are you saying?
I wasn't saying anything.
I got a good one. Boxing or MMA?
Some people will hate me, others will love me. Boxing.
Pet peeves?
People who chew gum in front of me when they're talking.
Okay.
So throw it away. Oh, he doesn't have any.
Windshield chips?
Profit.
And that's it. See, it was so easy.
That wasn't so hard.
Getting to know Ken Franczek.
Yeah.
In what, 30 seconds and less or less?
Seriously, thank you very much for joining us. And we know you have a packed schedule, so we really appreciate you coming down and visiting with us.
Definitely.
Pleasure is absolutely mine, guys.
Thank
it was a
you
blast.
so much, Ken.
I really
I
enjoyed
appreciate
it. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.